What cheer, y'all? Well, we're finally there. We're going to have Kentucky Derby Day after all. And they're kind enough on the card to give us a whole bunch of different betting options. And one of them, I think the one we have to tackle, is the all grade one stakes late pick five. It comprises races 8 through 12 and finishes with the run for the roses. So this is going to be a really good sequence. It's a tough one, and looking at it, we'll start with looking at the Churchill Downs Stakes, a grade one, eighth race on the card, run at 7 furlongs for 4-year-olds and up. What a field. Just look at this. Nisos making his return after an over-year layoff. Extra Añejo, who just won the Commonwealth. Mindframe, his second start off a long layoff. Bookham Dano, Hoist the Gold, Mulligan, Giant Mischief, Banishing. This is a great field. Now, you will note there's no confirmed front runner. However, I'm going to presume it's going to be either Just Steel or Banishing. Banishing I would prefer over the two. This is a horse who's just been, if you consider he was running in for a claim a few races back, his last 4 have just been outstanding. He's not a horse who wants to go 2 turns, I don't think. And yet he's still been very competitive. He cuts back to 7 furlongs, which should be a very good distance for him. My only concern is that I just wonder if the wheels are going to come off at some point. He's just run so big for 4 races in a row, and that's the really big concern, considering the in particular that all the firepower he's going to have to deal with. I think he will get the lead or be just off of it. And then the question is going to be whether he's good enough. I think he's certainly proven that he is. The question is, in this deep a field, whether he can hang on. And I think it might be a bit of a tall order. Nisos was certainly all the rage on the Derby Trail, and he was just smooth as silk and just really impressive in all his races. But he did sustain an injury and has been off for quite some time. The works look good, and whenever I see a Bob Baffert horse with works of 6 or 7 furlongs, that that he's serious about this one. That he's tightened up all the screws, and Nisos, I think, is ready to run. I would put him on top, but for the fact he's had such a long layoff, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll run his race, but this is easily the deepest, the toughest field he's ever faced. So we're going to find out a lot about Nisos, but I think he is certainly one to consider in this race. Extra Añejo, Steve Asmussen's on record as saying he's really high about this one coming into this race. And he finally put it all together in the last one. He was impressive. He's going to have pace to run to. And you're getting a price. And with a field this deep, I think a price really makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to go with Extra Añejo on top. I think he's finally come to maturity at 5 years old. He is going to have to get faster without a doubt. But if you consider there's going to be a lot of horses knocking heads against each other up amongst the leaders, he may not have to have a monster figure because a lot of them are going to be compromised by dueling it out. And so with his off-the-pace style in the 6 hole, with a lot of prominent horses to his outside, I think he's got the chance to save some ground, not do a whole lot of running early, and I think he's got a shot to take this down, so I'm going to go with him. Mindframe, you can't deny the talent. We certainly all remember last year, and he may be a better one-turn horse than he is 2 turns, and that is scary, to be sure. However, couple things that bother me. His debut race at 4, he still showed that same greenness, that same immaturity that cost him last year in the Belmont and the Travers. I just didn't like that race at all, and I really think it's a problem that he went right back to the bench for another layoff before getting into this one. And I just have a feeling that maybe a race or two away from Mindframe, and at 3-1, I can't like him in that spot. So I'm going to use him for sure. You can't deny the talent, but I can't take him on top for that reason. Bookham Dano has the off-the-pace running style that I think will fit here. I'm not sure he's good enough, but he does bring it every time, and you can't argue with his record at 7 furlongs. So I think Bookham Dano is a logical one in this spot. So we'll start the sequence with going for some value, and hopefully if we can get a price home, it may set us up pretty well. But this is a very tough sequence. Extra Añejo in the Churchill Downs. The second leg of the Grade 1 Pick 5 is the American Turf, a Grade 1, 9th race on the card, running a mile and a 16th on the turf for the 3-year-olds. And another excellent field. This is one that I think is probably going to set up for later runners with Mibago on the front end. I've liked this horse, but Grade 1 I think is maybe reaching a little too far for him. But he will definitely have the lead, and he will run with interest. And he doesn't mince words when he gets on the lead. He just goes all out. So that consequently has to mean you're going to have some pace in here. Zulu Kingdom for Chad Brown makes a lot of sense, of course, and certainly on Derby Day, Chad Brown's going to want to bring it. He's got a couple in here, as he always does, but Zulu Kingdom has proven himself consistently, and I did like his debut coming out at 3, so he ran against an inferior field. He'll have to step it up here, but, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, I thought he ran a pretty good race. It was a little troubled, and I think it demonstrated his quality. So I think Zulu Kingdom is certainly one that fits in this mix. You can't deny Ironman Cal from the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He ran a really nice race considering that field. He's had a long layoff, and Phil D'Amato, not so great when he goes to the ships east. But I think this one certainly has quality, and I was very close to putting him on top. But I do worry about horses who are going to be up close to the leaders, and I think he will be in that range. So, but Ironman Cow, I think, is one you have to use. Maui Strong for Dale Romans has been improving with every single start. And I think the last was, he was a little lacking in the stretch, I thought. But if he continues his progression to continue to move forward, and I think they'll keep him. Sufficiently off the pace. He should be in the mix at 30-1. You're getting a great price. I look for him more for underneath. I settled on Giacoso. This race, I think, is another one that demands a price. His last race, I didn't like that trip at all. He had all kinds of trouble in it. You saw the jockey's head bob up 2 or 3 times. And obviously they made the switch for good reason to Ben Curtis. I think that's a huge upgrade. Coming from off the pace, he should get a very good trip. He will have to step forward, that's true. But I've liked this horse since he was 2 years old. They moved him to dirt. It didn't work out. He's back on a surface that's preferable to him. I like Giacoso in this spot in a really tough race. With the 3-year-olds, you never know who's going to move forward and who isn't. But I think Giacoso might be sitting on a big one. So I'm going to take him at 30-1. Scipio in the last race, his last one, I thought ran a solid second to test score. And he's a big horse. And so you have to like that in the big field. He'll be coming late. Test score, just incidentally, I thought he ran such a better race than he had prior that I kind of wonder about a regression. I don't have that issue with Scipio, so I'm going to throw him in the mix again for a price at 12-1. I don't necessarily like, he seems to be more of a grinder than he is one with the big kick who can finish his race, but I think he's one you certainly have to have in the mix. New Century is a real mystery to me, but he certainly demonstrated plenty of talent at 2. 3-1, I can't have him as the favorite, especially since he has no works. He was racing overseas 3 weeks ago, and now he's got a new trainer. There's an awful lot of firsts. He does have the talent to factor in this race, but I can't take him on top. So we'll go with a long shot in this one with Giacoso in the American Turf. The third leg of the Grade 1 Pick 5 is the Derby City Distaff. It's the 10th race on the card, run at 7 furlongs for 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. Another stellar field. Copian, Mystic Lake, Ways and Means, Emery, Scylla, Vava, Positano Sunset, Main Squeeze. I mean, this is another really tough field. But looking at this one, I'm going to go with Copian. And the reason being, I think this horse is just in really good form. The last race was evidence of that. This one can sit off the pace and wait to pounce, whereas a lot of the other more prominent ones might be a little farther back, and I think that gives Copian a pretty big edge. Dick Mandela does not ship unless he means business, and I think Copian looks to me like has the best race shape and is run just in great form, and I think can win this race. Ways and Means is certainly a solid contender without a doubt, and can win this race coming from off the pace. But there's always been something about Ways and Means. I mean, I was against her in the Breeders' Cup juvenile sprint, or a the filly and mare sprint last year, and there always seems to be something lacking with her. Now, she's a really good horse. She's a really talented horse, but I just wonder at the Grade 1 level, and being a little far back, she might be up against it here. Vava, this is her distance. She loves it, and she's got the right running style to be sitting off the pace. I think it's another one who very well could win this race if it gets a little hot on the front end with Hope Road, or Hall and Ice decides to run to daylight. But I wonder at her age if maybe a little something off the fastball, and that's really my only concern with Vava, but certainly one you have to keep in the mix. Scylla is another one that, I don't know, it seems like we remember last year when they moved her from, after the Clement Hirsch, they moved her back, or before that, they moved her to sprints, and that seemed like a really weird choice to me for Bill Mott. I'm certainly not going to second guess him, but she just hasn't seemed to have had that big kick in the stretch that you need to win coming from off the pace. And while I think Scylla can certainly factor in this race, I don't think I can take her in this spot, using for under only. Positano Sunset seems to be coming into her own for sure for Ian Wilkes. Had a very nice effort in her last race, and coming from off the pace, if she can replicate that and maybe build on a little bit and has some pace to run to, I think can factor, and is one you certainly want to use. My Main Squeeze, same thing. This is another horse that ran well in the last one and is building towards a big race. I believe she's coming in third off the layoff. So My Main Squeeze, I think, at a price, is one you certainly want to use here. But if I can get Copian at 8-1, I'll be doing handsprings. I really think that she is a deserving horse in this race, and I think she's going to win the Derby City Distaff. The fourth leg of the Grade 1 Pick 5 is the Turf Classic, a Grade 1 11th race on the card, running 1 1/8 on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. And I'll tell you, this is a race that, to me, is probably, it's another one that's extremely well balanced. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of hair on a few of quite a few of these. Like, there's just a little something lacking. And it's a tough race to call. This is certainly a spread race. The two Cherie DeVos, Taking Candy and Brilliant Birdie, I'm not sure they're fast enough, to be honest. They may be training well, but let's remember, horses that train well, it doesn't necessarily mean that class is going to be elevated when they get into a race. I think Taking Candy is a nice horse. I'd rather be Blessed. I think will probably be on the lead. I don't like horses coming out of the fairgrounds. The turf form doesn't translate very well. But Taking Candy, I could see it, if you want to consider, but I can't put her on top. I settled of the two Chad Browns, and certainly, as we know, Chad Brown's going to bring it on these big days. I like Running B. This is a horse I've been kind of go either way with, but this horse seems to be on an upward arc and is coming into the race I believe it's third off the layoff and looks ready to put a big effort forward. I don't think the pace is going to be overly strong, so tactically she should be in very good. He should be in very good position, and running B is one I'm going to pick to win at 5-1. I think is a square price. Gold Phoenix. I'm never right about this horse, so take that for what you will. This is an extremely versatile horse. Can run long, can run short, and I just never seem to admittedly get this one at the right time. Now, by the form, you would say that maybe a big race isn't in the offing for Gold Phoenix, and that's exactly why I'm using him because it just never seemed, it just doesn't. Uh, I just never get this one at the right time, but I think this one is here for a reason. And while Phil D'Amato not very strong when shipping east, I think Gold Phoenix is a good fit here. And at 10-1, you're getting a nice price. Spirit of St. Louis, I think it's logical that after the Pegasus turf might have a bit of a letdown, but I think this horse is made a believer out of me after the Pegasus and is certainly better than running in New York bred stakes races. I think is a good fit here. The form appears to be pretty good. I think will rebound, and I think you have to use Spirit of St. Louis here. Integration is a one with hair. For Shug, I'd love to see Shug get a win on Derby Day, but you just can't trust this horse. He always brings it, but he's never good enough. And that's really the issue with him. He just somebody's always better. So he'll run his race. He should get into the mix, but I just can't take him on top. Cameo Performance to me is a very interesting horse, particularly at 20-1. I think this horse ran pretty well last time, and if he could take a step forward, which I think is very likely, at 20-1, you're getting a really nice price. Could upset the apple cart, and I will be using in the sequence Cameo Performance. Brilliant Birdie, I just don't see enough there to get excited about it. I think we do have to remember sometimes that these big trainers, the Cherie DeVos of the world, they don't always, just because they're in a race doesn't mean they have a horse who's going to win it. And I think Brilliant Birdie, I just didn't see enough there to get excited about. So I'm going to take running B, but I've got a strong interest in Cameo Performance as well. Of the races, I think this is the most wide open. There's a ton of ways to go. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but we're going to go with running B in the Turf Classic. So we've reached the final race in the Pick 5, and it's the Kentucky Derby, the Grade 1, 12th race on the card, run at 1.25 miles for 3-year-olds. I encourage you, anyone who hasn't taken a look at it, you can go back and look at our post for the elements of handicapping, form, class, speed, and pace, where we evaluate all the contenders. And we also, in our final assessment, we do have a wagering strategy for just the race individually. So we're not going to talk about the Derby a whole lot here because, like all of us, we've done plenty of it. However, Journalism is my pick to win. He's the best horse in the race. That's it. You can look a lot of different ways. In all the ways we assessed the contenders, he was up or near the top in every category. I think he's proven himself to be the best horse in the field. Speed-wise, he towers over the rest of the field. I think he has the right running style, particularly when you consider all the early pace runners. So Journalism is my pick to win, and I am going to single him in the Pick 5. For alternatives, I'm starting to hear rumblings that American Promise may scratch. I haven't got any confirmation on that. He would be one that I certainly, as a kind of a long shot, you might want to consider if you want to spread, but I can't do it in the Derby. I like Rodriguez a lot in this race. I know there's a lot of other pace up amongst the front, but I don't think any of them can run with Rodriguez, and he's going to be awfully dangerous if he can shake free, and it's entirely possible. I love Grand in this race at 20-1. That Wood Memorial, I thought he ran a better race than Rodriguez did, and that's saying something. Finishing second, being wide around both turns. He's clearly going to like the distance. He's got all the The only thing to knock on him is that he's lightly raced. And he's had kind of a curious training pattern for Todd Pletcher, who's usually very formulaic. But that may be a good thing, in that he's trying not to expend too much coming into the Derby, and especially for a horse who's lightly raced. I think this horse has a lot of talent. He's one to think about as well. Horses we're using, Sovereignty certainly is one you can consider. I just wonder if he's going to be a little too far back, and I don't think he's as fast as Journalism. He will run his best race. Bill Mott, you can guarantee it on Derby Day. Whether it's good enough, I'm not overly certain, and he may be a little too far back, but he's certainly one you have to consider, and I would love nothing more than to see Godolphin and Bill Mott get a legitimate Kentucky Derby. So I will be rooting for Sovereignty, and in my wagering strategy for the race, I'll be using liberally. Sandman, I did not like that Arkansas Derby. I've said it before. I know he got a high class rating. I know he got his career high speed figure, and from those elements, you'd have to consider him to be a prime win candidate. Here's my problem. He had an ideal setup, and his late fraction will not cut it in the Kentucky Derby. Go back and look at my assessment and the pace numbers, and you'll see. However, he does fit in a lot of other categories. And the other problem with him, of course, is that he's very green still, and he's a tappet. So, to me, will it surprise me if he wins a little bit, but not much. But I just like others better, and I don't know that he can run a race fast enough to beat Journalism. Tistastic is just going to keep running. I didn't like the Louisiana races at all. I think he won the Louisiana Derby with a big middle move, and he just kept running. But his final fraction, although it was at 1 mile and 3/16, was subpar compared to what you want to see horses run in the Derby. But I think he will keep running. So, one to consider. I'm also going to throw another note in there. Publisher had a very favorable impression training, and he is a career maiden, but he outworked Tistastic last time. And Tistastic, I don't know how good a workhorse he is, but Publisher may be one to think about as sort of a long shot play. But in terms of the pick 5, and I stress the pick 5, I'm going with Journalism. He's the best horse, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. So we look at our ticket. It's either we're going to go with Extra Añejo in the Churchill Downs, and if it's not him, it's Nisos. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm going to go with the price. If I don't get it, I think it's Nisos' race to lose. Leg 2, the 9th race, definitely a spread race. We're going to go with another long shot in Giacoso. But we're going to spread with 2, 7, 9, and 10. In the Derby City Distaff, I think it's Copian's race to lose, but we're going to buttress that with the 7 and the 8. In the American Turf, I think is a pretty, or the Turf Classic rather, is a very wide open race. We're going to go with Running B, but we're also going to throw in the 1 and the 8 as well. And then finally in the Derby, we're going to single with Journalism. And if we get that far, we're looking awful good with some prices. It should be a really big payout if we can get our prime choices home. So 2 times 4 times 3 times 3, that's a $72 ticket on a $1 base. It looks to be an outstanding sequence, albeit an extremely difficult one. And we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope we can get it home. Hope this analysis helps you with your own wagering strategy. I wish you the best of luck as always. And certainly if you do like content like this, please like and subscribe. Again, it's been a great Derby trail. I thank all of you for growing our community. Keep the comments coming. We're talking to each other. It's fantastic. It's really become a really great community, and I have you to thank for that. So again, thank you very much. We're going to have our full card selections as well as our best bets and value plays for Derby Day. And we're going to try to get maybe some individual posts from Oaks Day if we can. Time is of the essence for me, but I'll do the best I can. So be on the lookout for at least the full card for the Kentucky Derby. Derby card, I should say. That's it from here. I'll talk to you soon. And until then, be well.